Today we're going to make one of the most iconic Vietnamese dishes of all time. Some pho. Pho is a traditional rice noodle soup which is characterized by a very clear and fresh broth. Traditionally, you would create the broth by simmering some beef or some chicken meat. But obviously we're not going to use that, but we're still going to give our broth a very strong flavor by using my favorite ingredient, dried mushrooms. I got some dried, I don't know what they are. They're like lion's manes, so we're gonna use that. And I got some dried shiitake. First step is just boiling and rehydrating them. To enhance the flavor of the broth, I brought a pot of vegetable stock to a simmer, and now I'm gonna add my dried mushrooms. And I'm simply gonna let it simmer for about half an hour or so. The second step to the famous broth is making a spice mix. To a bowl, add 2 tablespoons of coriander seeds, 1 tablespoon fennel seeds, 2 star anise, and a cinnamon stick. If you have cardamom pods, add that as well. If you don't have any of that at home and don't want to buy a package of each, most Asian supermarkets sell a pre-made pho spice mix, so look out for that. So I got my pan on a high heat and I'm just gonna place my onions in there. Same for the ginger and the green onion sticks. After 1 or 2 minutes, the onions should be charred and you can flip them. Okay, the onions are charred on both sides now, so we can actually remove them. Same goes for the spring onions. The ginger might take a bit longer, as you can see. Charring the aromatics will actually help to deepen the flavor and activate them. You can also use a broiler in your oven if you have that function. For the same reason, we're going to toast our spices. Make sure to turn your pan into a low heat so you don't burn them. This will release their natural oils and also make our broth and spices way stronger. Okay, our broth has been simmering for 30 to 45 minutes and now it's time to add our charred aromatics. I've also transferred our spices into a tea bag and I'm gonna drop that in as well. And I'm gonna let it simmer for about 1 or 2 hours more. Since I didn't have any cardamom pods, I'm gonna add some ground cardamom to the broth. Halfway through, we're going to add some rock sugar, which will help to balance the flavors and provide some sweetness. Plus, we're going to add some vegan fish sauce for some more umami and saltiness. If you don't have that, you can also use some soy sauce instead. So it's been a few hours and now I'm gonna remove the aromatics and the spice bag. Also very important, give your broth a little taste. And decide if it needs anything. It needs a touch more umami, so I'm gonna add a touch of MSG. You can also use soy sauce again or the vegan fish sauce, but that's what I'm gonna use. Now, let's talk about the topics we're going to use for our soup. Traditionally, you would use the meat you used for creating the broth and slice that up and put that in the soup. But I got a nice trick for that. We're actually going to take some of our mushrooms, slice that up, optionally fry it in a pan and put that as a topping. Maybe just press them down a little and flip them after just 1 or 2 minutes. Maybe lower the heat, add a touch of oil. That's how they should look. Another important part of our toppings is some fresh vegetables and herbs. So I've used some fresh coriander, some spring onion and some chili if you like some heat. You can also use some sriracha or some fresh bean sprouts if you have that. If you wanted to add some protein, you can use some tofu and slice that up and add that as well. Okay, now on how to assemble. So I've prepared my rice noodles according to package instruction and I'm gonna add them to my bowl. Next up, I'm gonna add some of my mushrooms. And now we're going to add the delicious broth. You can also add some of the shiitake mushrooms as well, spring onion, chilies, and fresh cilantro. And this is our pho. Okay, so since we haven't had any fat from any meat in the broth, I recommend adding some sesame oil. And if you want to have some acidity, squeeze in some fresh lime juice. Just enjoy your beautiful dish. The broth, it's so simple to prepare, but the broth is so clear and powerful. This is such a beautiful dish.